What's up, everybody? This is Intellitech Studios. I messed up that intro, but that's okay. This is the Bissell PowerForce Model 3525. This particular example of this machine was manufactured in 2007, and you can see the shiny black plastic. See my fingers. So, this is the last version of this machine that has all the features that made the PowerForce a pretty decent deal for the time, especially, well, I mean, it still even is, but especially in terms of the extra features it had. It had a slightly longer cord, has a back check indicator, and has a headlight. Now, this isn't the wide beam headlight that the original 3522 had, but it's the exact same bulb that the 3522-5 has, only it's in a smaller enclosure that's supposedly a bit easier to change, although I actually prefer just having the two screws to having this little wedge. But I still wanted one of these because this one's a bit of an uncommon version. It's still made in Korea, but it has the updated insignia from the version that would eventually be known as a 71Y7 and eventually be fitted with a 10 amp motor and be made in China instead of Korea. But even so, this machine did not last very long before the indicator and the headlight was dropped. And then once they switched to the either the 1390 or the 1797, I forget which one, then they shortened the cord by 2 feet as well. There's a 25-foot cord, but on the current models it's 23 feet. This is the 3525, manufactured January 12, 2007. Of course, it has all the attachments. It's got the basic combo tool, and which is always annoying to get on with one hand. You got the extra long extension wand and a crevice tool. Now, it would have came with the older style, or with the newer style crevice tool that doesn't have these holes and doesn't have this little notch, but it'd be the same color as this. But I had an extra one of these, so I put this on here. So the crevice tool that came with this is on my lift-off right now. But it goes in right there. Snaps right on. We've got our basic blow molded hose, not wire reinforced or not stretch or anything, but you can fit the stretch hoses from the newer PowerForces on here if you so chose. If you wanted to get a machine with all the features, you theoretically could take the stretch hose and the commercial cord from the big green and put this on here, and you'd have the ultimate PowerForce. So there is that, and that's a hose, just a basic not stretch hose. So it's what you'd expect for this machine. That's the one thing they upgraded on these with the 71Y7-V and the 1398. It's one thing they made better with the older ones is you actually get a stretch hose. So, but of course, there's nothing stopping you from putting one of those on one of these. And at the end of the day, it's still not that much, so, pretty decent. So, there's not really much to say about these, other than just the fact that this exact model is uncommon. I don't know if I'd call it rare. I don't really know if I'd call any Bissell rare at this point, or any PowerForce rare. But it's in the same category as a lot of the colored ones. Not the blue and the burgundy. Those ones are a dime a dozen. Not as much as the black, but they're still common. Like the orange and the green and like the really, really bizarre colors that didn't ship for very long. Those are basically just like back to school specials sort of deal. I wish they still did that. That was kind of a cool thing, where they would have different colored variants. So if you want to get one to match your dorm room or something, that was the idea. But they don't do that anymore. It's just all black. The only closest analog to that is you buy the standard PowerForce Helix. You can get blue or purple, but that's about it. Otherwise, to pick color, you have to pick a version, whether it's red or green. But yeah, so there's that. Just got your basic cord hook. So it has the 25-foot cord from the 3522, but it doesn't have the cord protector anymore. So you've just got a basic entryway. So there's no cord protector or anything. So the cords can split on these, but it doesn't tend to happen super often. So we've got a brush roller, pretty basic. Hydrogen wheels, which are apparently prone to breaking on these. On this particular one, it seems to be okay. There's a lot of play in it, though, I do notice that. But there always was a lot of play in these. So that's not really the best in terms of build quality, but the rest of this is pretty solid. Not really much to say about that. So, this is not the full review of this, but just kind of a basic overview and a demo So I'll eventually do another review, since I haven't done a review on the original 3522 in a number of years. So I'll kind of just do both in one review. There's an updated review on these and why I still really like these. Even though I've reviewed a lot of more premium machines now, like Sebo, Dyson, Miele, Lindhouse, I still really, really appreciate these machines for what they are. They're just super simple, they work, they get the job done, they clean well, they're not too loud, and they mostly are just lightweight, they work, and they stay out of the way. Of course, these older units, the pedals like to break, but that's about it, really. Sometime, the bagless ones, the bearings will fail a lot of times, but all the bag ones too, the brush roll bearings will fail a lot, and they're not serviceable. But get yourself a CWP brush roller and slap it in, and that fixes that problem. So, and if you do break the pedal, you can still find pedals. You can get them for the big green. They'll be yellow instead of black, but they'll still work. You can always paint it if you don't like it. So you can still get parts for these, thankfully, as a result of the big green still being in production and having parts available for it. So pretty much any part you need, you could find, unless you somehow lose the headlight lens. But the headlight bulbs themselves are easy enough to find at AutoZone and whatnot, and O'Reilly's. So you can get bulbs pretty easy, even though Bissell's officially discontinued them. That's about it. It's got a bit of a smell to it from the previous owner, but should be okay. Got a clean furry bag in there, as per usual, and should be good. I always like these because filtration with these bags is really good. But even with the paper bags, these machines aren't too bad at all. They're actually pretty decent. So, not too much to complain about there. I did move some furniture around in my living room, so it's a little disorganized right now, but it gives the perfect opportunity to vacuum with this. What is that? Ew. Some kind of finger goop, maybe. Probably wipe that out. Alright, so we'll go ahead and give this a run.
Of course.
Well, I noticed the base plate kept getting caught on things. I'm not sure if there's like a crack in it that I'm just not seeing. Maybe I need to replace that base plate. I'm not sure. But, yeah, not bad. Definitely cleans good. Brush roll is definitely in good shape. I'm pretty sure that's a new brush roll. If it's not new, it's definitely a really good brush roll. Because that thing, I could hear this thing picking up a lot of stuff. And I just vacuumed the other day with the Tempo. And people say the Tempo is a better cleaner. I don't necessarily agree. I think they're both pretty on par with each other. But even with this, you can get a CWP brush roller for it, which would make it identical to the Tempo. In terms, because it's not exactly like there's a power difference. It's mainly just the brush roll. So yeah, that's the Bissell PowerForce 3525 bagged upright vacuum cleaner. Honestly, I really like this. I'm really thinking about going back to one of these. Maybe not this one, just because the cord's a little short. Yes, I know there's extensions, but I might go back to my Sanitaire after using this, just because the Sanitaire has a longer cord. But this definitely gets further than the Helix did, since it has that extra 2 feet of cord, and the cord comes out of the side, not the bottom, so you get a little bit of extra reach. Because this could actually make it to the almost to the office. It definitely made it to the front entryway, whereas the Helix didn't. So that little bit of cord does help make a big difference. This is definitely usable. I definitely could use this as daily if I absolutely had to. But you know, technically I could use any of them as daily if I absolutely had to. But you know, in terms of not being frustrated by it, the Helix, the cord's just a little too short in that regard. The Turbo and this is just fine because those are both 25 feet. So yeah, pretty good, no complaints. Even though when I smell the hose by itself, it still smells bad even after I washed it. When actually using the machine, I don't smell it, so that bag's definitely doing its job. So no complaints there, especially after washing out the hose and the attachments. Theoretically, I could wash, disinfect, and degrease the rest of the machine, and after seeing the schmutz that's in the handle, I actually might. But in the meantime, it's just fine. And I could always vacuum up some some of these to make it a bit better. In fact, I actually might. But, yeah. I got some of the Downy ones, too. Somewhere around here. But, yeah. So that's pretty much that. Got the Bissell PowerForce Model 3525. Just a little quick demo. I mean, even though I've always wanted one of these, it's not really like there's much to say about it, because it's still, at its heart, is just a 3522, just with, you know, a couple little mini updates. So, but hey, I'm not complaining. It runs great, cleans great, it's lightweight, it's good, it works. The headlight is cool, but of course, you know, I'm sure this would be a candidate for a darkroom vacuuming video, since I haven't done one of those in a while. I'm sure this would make a fine candidate for that. Other than that, you know, the headlight and the back check indicator, I can understand why they remove those. And personally, I would definitely rather have a stretch hose and a longer cord than those two anyways, which is why I use the sanitaire. Although technically speaking, you could, you know, use one of these and replace the cord, the handle, and the hose. You know, give it the handle from the sanitaire, give it the hose from either, and then give it the cord from the big green, and you'd have the best version. But not necessary. So yeah, but of course, if you wanted a machine with a stretch hose, a longer cord, and all that, that's the Power Glide Platinum's for. Although those aren't super easy to find. But yeah, that's that. Anyways, I'll see you guys in the next video. This was Intellitech Studios signing out, and I'll see you guys in the next video. I hope you all have a good one. Peace, and let me know what video you want to see next.